Because usually softcore
Alexa, pull up the Phantasm porn.
Here's what I found.
Fuck it, we're doing this live.
pull up the
Escape from Pleasure Planet.
Hell yeah.
The beast inside her. Holy fuck, these are like great.
Wait, you can just buy softcore on Fire TV? The beast inside her?
You heard it here first, guys.
All right, well, we're just going to keep this up in the background the rest of the time.
This movie's gonna flop. Our mind's about to pop. But enough of that noise. Time for the B-Roll Boiz.
Welcome to another phantasmagorical episode of B-Roll Boiz. Today I have with me as my hosts, grave robbers themselves, Justin and Harlan.
What the mother?
That movie's tough.
And I am Wes, and today we bring you 1979's Phantasm. Is this the first 70s movie we've watched for the show?
I think
Yours was early
so?
80s.
Huh.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
this the oldest thing we've watched?
It might be the oldest thing we've watched.
I guess so.
Not by a whole lot. I mean, relative to the other stuff, but...
No, I just thought about it because, yeah, we got our first 70s movie, or horror movie, spooky season is about, so we decided to watch Phantasm. This is a movie I haven't seen in like a long time. I think the last time I watched it, I was like a teenager.
Apparently, like the 17th scariest thing ever.
Yeah, I was when I was
Question mark?
looking at my trivia for this, I was surprised to see how highly rated it was. It's at like a 6.7 on IMDb out of 10.
You don't think it deserves that?
Not really. And then also, it's like apparently on a lot of like scariest movies of all time list, and I just do not see it. Like even for this time that it came out. What year did you say it was? 79?
79.
Yeah, I just don't see this being that scary even then.
Yeah, it's weird because this is a few years after The Exorcist. People
Yeah,
thought
and-
this was,
and
like
wasn't it
some
also
people out
after,
there thought this was scarier than
Wasn't
The
this
Exorcist.
also after Amityville Horror? I think that was a few
think
years
so.
before. Yeah, I think that was a few years prior to this. Which, yeah, like I can understand how Amityville Horror was really scary for the time. This, I do not see this being that scary.
Even any potential scary parts were kind of offset by the music choices.
Yeah.
Not saying the music was bad, but like sometimes scary shit would be happening, they'd add like some kind of chill hop beat.
Yeah.
We had a lot
you
of,
know,
like trap remixes of itself.
I'll say like I was liking the music for the most part, but then like there are parts. They just used the main theme of the movie too much. They like used it like I think like at least 7 times throughout the whole movie. It was a lot.
That's a common thing with these movies, though, like older movies.
They were very clearly trying to do like a Halloween type. They wanted that to be like an iconic thing, and
But it wasn't.
yeah, look how that worked out. But I mean, I liked the theme itself. They just used it. They overused it too much. And then yeah, like there are some parts in like the third act of the movie where they use the theme, but they add like like some really prevalent drums behind it, and the percussion is just like way too front and center for it, to where yeah, it's kind of distracting.
So Harlan, you would absolutely hate Twin Peaks then.
Is that right?
Yeah, that show has like 4 themes and they play through the entirety of every episode.
Great.
But you learn to endear them. But anyway, so
It's like Stockholm Syndrome.
what does one say about Phantasm? I mean, I was pretty phantasmed.
I have kind of mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, it's tough to describe.
Yeah, like so basically the whole movie takes place between this dude Mike's house and the funeral home, and they just kind of keep going back and forth between there until the movie ends.
Yeah.
Because like one of them believes and like, no, come on, man, they're doing some weird shit. The other one's like, no way. Then he goes back and proves it. Then they go, and then they come back for the third guy. Dude, you're not going to believe this. He's like, yeah, I don't.
It's
and
kinda-
then they go back to the funeral.
Yeah.
Running in
I don't think
circles.
that the plot makes that much sense, and the acting's pretty bad, but I like the imagery.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that is enough to propel it into like, okay, I don't think that this is bad.
I wouldn't say it's bad, but yeah, it's just like you said, the acting I think is probably the worst thing about this movie.
It's got a weird feel. Like the whole plot seems like it was
Well,
kind of stolen from like a 1950s like sci-fi.
Yeah, the whole thing is just it's kind of stupid, but and it has those moments where something really absurdly violent happens, and then all 3 of us cheered. But then aside from that, we were like either bored or just kind of like, what?
Yeah, whenever the hyper violence comes in, it's just kind of
What's
unexpected.
I mean, there isn't a
Pretty
ton of that
consistent theme
anyway.
with us.
There's like one scene really that's excessively violent. That's like really it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of.
the floating like 8-ball
Yeah.
that brains the
Well,
dude.
Yeah, there's
For
like
people back then, it might be more of the idea of what's going on.
I guess.
Since they're like stealing dead people and turning them into like mutant slaves to take to another planet. Boy, I jumped right ahead there. So anyway,
Spoilers for Phantasm.
we
I
start
don't know
off.
if is this one that we like go through the plot of though?
Well, I was just going to kind of briefly touch on it because it
fair.
probably sounds really weird. Because we start off with two people doing the monster mash in the graveyard,
Oh yeah, they flip
and
him.
we get a fat view of Milky's like 30 seconds in.
Yeah.
So that was
Boobers.
some
Yeah,
bompers.
some tasty gams.
Some Roberts.
And so like this is the main character's friends. They have a
say
funeral. It's
Get your Roberts out.
anyway, it's the main character's friends, and then they go to the funeral for him. They didn't want the younger kid to go to the funeral, so he's like watching it from the woods with binoculars, which is kind of weird anyway.
Yeah.
But he sees like the I guess the funeral director. That it never really shows anyone talking to him, but I guess he's the guy, right?
Yeah.
He like picks up the casket by himself after the funeral
Like
out of
with
the
one
ground.
hand, he just like lifts it over his shoulder.
He just deadlifts this thing and throws it into the back of a hearse and drives the body back. And you know, it's about then you're starting to think things are a little weird.
Yeah, why is the kid spying on the closed casket part of the funeral?
Well, because they
Like
didn't,
he's in like the grassy knoll.
They didn't want him to go
watching
to the funeral at
JFK
all.
go by, and like all he sees is the other guys carrying the casket. He's not even.
Yeah, it's nothing
Well, I
out of
guess
the
we.
ordinary.
Well, here's the biggest spoiler. Right to the end of the movie, I guess you can just explain away any like lack of logic of it was a dream the whole time, man.
It wasn't.
Okay, so this movie has the really stupid ending that everybody loves nowadays, where yeah, it's revealed at the end that the whole thing was just a dream.
It wasn't.
Well, and then they try to make it ambiguous at best, where it's like, was it a dream? Because yeah, like he wakes up and then he's like, oh, that was scary, and then he calms down, and then the monsters show up and get him, and it's like, oh, so it was real. But it's like, if that was a dream in the first place, what's to stop them from just being like, oh, it's a dream again?
Well,
like,
that's what I hate about the ending. Like they try to project that yeah, no, it actually was real, but they swap the things that happen in the supposed dream when they say that it really happened. Because near the end of the movie, Reggie, which is a total king, he's a bald dude with a ponytail that runs an ice cream van.
That's
Hell
the
yeah,
only thing that
Regina.
makes him a king. He's a totally forgettable character otherwise.
yeah.
No, we'll get to more of Reggie.
He's like barely in it.
We'll get to more of Reggie.
I don't think he's barely in it, but he doesn't really do anything. I was
But-
expecting this guy to be like some sort of personable guy, and he just kind of wasn't.
No,
He was
we'll-
the same as the kid and the main guy.
We'll get to Reggie. I got you.
Bubby.
Justin, Bubby.
I'm your white
Reggie's your white knight.
Harlan,
Anyway,
you have
like
to watch
Reggie-
Die Hard with us.
He does need to watch Die Hard.
Yes.
But like Reggie dies near the end of it at the funeral home, and then when like Mike wakes up from his dream, it's actually his brother that died in a car crash, but Reggie's still alive.
Yeah, that was confusing.
And then
to me.
Reggie's going to take care of him since their parents were already dead before the movie even began, I guess. And I don't know.
But in the
like
dream,
the last,
it was like their friend that died after
Yeah.
having sex in a cemetery with a girl that
on
stabbed
top
him.
of a tombstone.
that
Why?
last 2 minutes makes the entire movie even more confusing
Why
than
not
it
find
already
like a
was.
chevron bathroom? Like a classy person.
Anywhere but a graveyard.
Yeah, like
Like a fucking field. I mean, anything
Or
else.
like, yeah, like how about on the grass in the graveyard? Like, why fuck on top of a tombstone?
and multiple people try to fuck in this graveyard.
No,
Like,
yeah,
everybody.
this is just like where the kids go to fuck.
They're just dying to get in.
I guess it's because it's down the street from that bar, and all 6 people that can fit into that bar are just like go in there. They make eye contact, and then they go to the cemetery to fuck.
You want to fuck on the tombstones? Huh?
Can I come on you?
Come on, you in the graveyard. Harlan, anything to add to that?
No.
All right.
Okay.
But okay, so what makes him a king, and what makes this
Aside
actually
from
real
his
and not a
hair.
dream? We got to watch Phantasm 2.
He looks like George Costanza as a roadie.
How many are there in this series? I know
There's
there's
5 now.
There's okay. I knew there was 3.
Really?
Jesus Christ. When was the last one?
Like 2016.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah.
This is
This
like,
is a series.
This is an epic.
But Phantasm 2 is like the best one, right?
Sure.
Okay, so it
What does
start-
that mean?
I'm not.
What does a
I'm
movie
not spoiling
like this have to
anything.
do to be like unambiguously good?
It's like Terminator 2 to Terminator 1,
Terminator 1's better though.
but the style. It's like Aliens to Alien.
Okay, so an action movie after a. So they made like an action movie version.
Yeah.
of this?
So it starts off. Mike was in a mental institution the whole time because I guess he was going on about So I guess it was a dream. It wasn't a dream, but he didn't actually get sucked into the mirror. I guess that part was a dream.
See, that's what I was saying. Like,
But
is
okay,
this Inception?
so
see,
he's
this
like
is,
in a
this
mental.
That's fucking stupid. Like, they clearly didn't know which way to go with it, so they were just like, oh, it's up to the audience, man. And then they
Well,
were just
see-
like, oh, well, we can make more money by making another. So
What part was a dream and what part was real? He was in a mental institution. Maybe we don't know. Maybe he doesn't know what's real.
that's the
He's
best.
in a
But
mental
anyway,
institution,
he
and
gets-
all of it would be a dream.
He gets out or breaks out. I don't remember. He gets with Reggie, the tall man. Guess what? He's alive. And I guess they just know he's alive from what I remember. And then they basically like go around the countryside killing these demon things and looking for them. And they're just like packed with shotguns and have like gear and shit
All
the
right,
whole
that sounds
time.
pretty great. Actually, I kind of want to watch that.
Okay.
That sounds kind of great.
I wanted to watch Phantasm.
Is it the same actors? Or are they like aged up and they just recast them?
No, it's Reggie and Mike.
Nice,
Yeah, same guys.
nice.
Yeah.
So Jody.
It was
couldn't be
also made
bothered.
like almost 10 years later.
Han Solo looking motherfucker.
So he basically grew up in the insane asylum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah. But I wanted to watch this so we could watch Phantasm 2 at some point. So this for you guys. This is a good precursor.
This was your layup.
You guys got to alley-oop it in.
We can't dunk.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way any of the three of us can dunk.
We can dunk. Have you seen those little Fisher-Price, like, basketball goals?
Dude, I can't dunk. Even when it's like right in front of my face, I just can't dunk.
I can't dunk either. I have no lift.
So I'm glad this is the Phantasm we watched because when I googled this movie at first, I spelled it F-A-N-T A-S-M, and apparently that is not the right Phantasm because I was very surprised to see. I was under the impression that you were having us watch softcore porn. Because so this is Phantasm with a PH.
You weren't able to put that past me? You're like, okay, I'm
Sure,
in.
let's go.
I guess we're just gonna see dick and balls.
Well,
Well, softcore. You don't really see balls or dick.
yeah. But no, I just thought
yeah.
that was
What
funny.
makes it hardcore
It's like old
is seeing
Hollywood.
full dick.
So worth noting, this is Phantasm with a PH, not an F. F is porn.
So, what do you guys think about the twist where their tall man's actually an alien?
Less interesting to me than it seemed to be pointing to like supernatural stuff.
Yeah, then they just walk into like a sterile white room filled with cans stuffed with dead bodies that they're going to use as slaves and find a portal to like a red planet.
You know what this fucking reminds me of? Neil Breen's Double Down.
How?
It just fluctuates between two locations the entire time, and they do like the same shit every single time.
And it makes no sense also.
And they really doubled down on it.
I mean, this made enough sense to where I could like follow what was going
Yeah.
on, but it was always like, oh, well, they're doing this thing, and I don't 100% know why, but okay.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
It's like, my main question is, why do they give a shit? Like, okay, it starts off because the kid sees the funeral director or whatever deadlifting this whole coffin
Yeah.
casket
Sure.
by himself,
One of those.
and it's like, okay, who gives a shit?
Well,
why
it'd
do
be
you want to
weird.
break into the building now?
Well, it's that he saw him spying on him. So he was like onto him from that point, and then that's when he like skirted away on his dirt bike
Yeah.
to the
Okay,
graveyard.
but why
Which,
not
by the
just,
way,
like,
he does a
leave and
wheelie
not come
across
back
these
then?
across these graves.
why
yeah.
poke the bull? Why care?
I think
Well, would the tall man
I don't
have
know.
left him alone if he never went back?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't write it.
Well, plus we're
I guess he was just this curiosity. He was just dying to know. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's
because it doesn't really seem that bad when you think about it. Because it's not like he's not killing anybody. He works at a funeral home. He's just getting the dead bodies
Yeah,
and
who gives a
reanimating
shit?
them for slavery.
that's a good point. Well, no, he is
yeah,
killing
they're
people.
dead in hell. Who cares?
No, well, he is killing people. Like at the very beginning of the movie, the woman that stabs
Oh yeah,
Tommy,
she turns into the
yeah,
tall
she
man.
I guess he can shapeshift into a specific woman because he never shapeshifts. He never like disguises himself as someone else. Like he disguises himself as the same woman. So I guess his alien power is that he can transform from like a middle-aged, really tall, lanky guy into an attractive 20-something-year-old woman.
That's a good power to have, though.
So this is basically Species. Yeah, I mean, my question is, like, we know that as the audience. We know that the guy is killing people. But
Yeah.
Mike doesn't know that.
That's true.
Yeah,
He just sees that there's this weird old guy that can deadlift a lot and looks at him.
Yeah, you're right. At the time, he doesn't have any reason to believe that, at most, it's just, oh, this guy's really strong and he gave me a creepy look. Well, that's not true, actually, now that I think about it, because when he's riding away on his dirt bike, fleeing from the guy's deathly stare, he, like, force pushes him off of his bike. He just, like, looks at him and he, like, falls. And the way it's implied that, like, it's not just, like, he, like, hit something and fell. Like, it's implied that, like, he, like, used some sort of, like, telekinetic force to push him off the bike.
And that's cool, but
true.
again, what about that would motivate this child to go and break into the funeral home then?
It's 79. There's nothing else to do. Are you looking at this from a perspective of us being as passive as we are? Because we're driving home from fucking Cookout or something. We see some dude carrying anything on the side of the road. We're just going to fucking go home.
Yeah, because I don't care, and I'm not going to fuck with things that don't affect me.
Yeah. But you know what? That's what you do in a small town in the 70s, man. You fuck with things.
That's true. Kids just got
Apparently,
into
it's
an
not like he
adventure.
has school to go to.
The Goonies never would have happened in 2021.
Yeah.
Stand By Me never would have happened in 2021.
Yeah. Kids don't go on adventures anymore.
Yeah. Guys, you want to go on an adventure?
Yeah. You want to run away from home?
I'll just say now we have long since gotten through all my notes on this movie, because this movie's an hour and a half long. It definitely felt longer than that, and it was like 5 minutes in, and I was like,
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
phone.
I was prepared.
I looked at Wes and I was
Start date, 6 minutes and 45 seconds in, they get bored.
notice he said they. Justin was bored too, because it was
Well,
like
because he piggybacked on your boredom.
I was paying attention too.
Bullshit! You were on your phone for like a third of this.
Okay, A, I was looking at trivia. B, I got pinged by work. I had to do a work thing. C, I was still, like, listening to what was happening. Like,
You watched this with the same intensity as Jack and Jill, and that really hurts me.
So anyway, it was like 5 minutes in, and Justin and I both were like, Wes, I'm bored. Because he had just been, like, wandering, like, just leisurely, like, looking around a morgue, and nothing was happening. And it was like 5 minutes. There are a few minutes like that where, like, just the scene just drags out too long.
It's a horror movie from the 70s. There's some fucking build-up there.
Where? What's scary about a guy just, like, looking around a room?
I'm trying to think of what would legitimately be scary about this, since we found that list that said this was like the 17th scariest.
I still
See if I
think
can find
it's
that list.
I still think it's the idea in 1979 of it.
Man, they were like a decade removed from Vietnam, and they were scared by this shit. America was fucking weak. Audiences weren't shit.
Let's talk about the ball, because I think the ball is, like, probably the most iconic thing from this movie. So when he's, like, walking through the morgue, like this silver ball, like this chrome ball comes out from around the corner and just, like, flies at the guy. And then, like, some, like, knives come out of it. And, so Mike, the main character, dodges, and this other guy who was chasing him and, like, grabbed him, he like, gets out of the way, and so it, like, stabs the guy in the face. And then it starts, like, drilling into the center of his face and then squirting blood out the other side. And it's just, like I said, that's, like, the only obscenely violent scene in the movie.
And the best scene in the
But,
movie.
it was great. It was great. We cheered.
The whole chase, and then,
And then after he falls dead to the floor and he pisses himself.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. You don't expect them to just have piss running down his leg.
Yeah,
I thought
we
it was
called
just
him a
really
P-boy and
I thought it was
bullied
just,
him.
like, really poorly colored blood. And I was like, oh, that's piss.
Yeah,
I just
because
didn't
it was-
expect piss.
Also,
It was
it's a
great because
lot
it was
of piss.
fizzing, too, in the
was.
middle.
He was full.
Quite an active bladder.
He must have been very full.
Yeah.
That's why I was in a hurry to kill him so he could go
He was on that like gallon of water per day thing. Also, I found the imagery of the morgue fairly like I guess it was unsettling. We've got all these like marble walls, and it reminded me a lot of The Shining, but it's just kind of ugly to look at, and maybe that was part of the point.
I think
but
because also the like the mausoleum like casket doors were also the same material, so it was just like all just the
Very
same
monotone.
texture.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of made you feel like you want to throw up, like actually being in there probably.
Why is the acting so bad in this movie? Because I was like, that stood out to me as absolutely the worst thing about this movie. Like, as much as the plot was just kind of whatever, like, there's very few scenes where you have two characters, acting out a scene together. It's always like a shot, like a close-up shot of one person saying their line, cut to the other person saying their line, cut back and forth.
Like every line needed like 100 takes.
Exactly, yeah. Like and it just makes it feel really stilted. And yeah, like I don't know, the acting is just so even like the more physical acting when like somebody's like grab someone. You know, like there's one scene where like Mike is like in a car with two girls and like the little dwarf creatures like jump in and like start trying to grab them, and anytime something like that happens in this movie, they always just kind of sit still and they're like no, and they like don't really do anything to try and like help themselves. They're just kind of like but meanwhile they're just sitting still.
I thought that might help like the camp factor. I assume this has like a pretty massive cult following.
I think the series as a whole, it definitely has a cult following.
Okay. I guess that's...
Which is why I watched it in the first place.
Yeah, I don't
really
really
see... you on the Blu-ray of Steelbook.
I do have the Blu-ray.
You know, I will say we watched the remastered version on Prime, I think, was it?
Yeah, and I noticed...
It looked surprisingly good.
Yeah. It was weird to see Bad Robot logo at the beginning, like...
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams himself remastered it or something. Like, what the fuck was that about?
I read that in my trivia...
slaved away in the mines for it.
I read that he named Captain Phasma after this movie because the chrome reminded him of the ball.
Oh, so he just really likes it?
I guess.
So he's like, let's fucking up-res that shit to 4K.
I guess so, yeah.
I'm a millionaire.
Whatever. No, yeah, I will say the remaster looks surprisingly good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It did look good. Except those like outside shots of the house, so they use the same one 4 times throughout the movie. That was like out of focus.
Oh yeah, and
like,
this movie's also really dark. Like they just like anytime they're outdoors at night, like you can't see anything. Like there's a chase scene in 2 cars, and literally all you can see is like the headlights of the cars. Like you can't see anything else.
Or like anytime that there's like a character or two in a scene, you can just see like the silhouetted outline of their face. And maybe that's the point, and I'm just being a poopy butthole about it. But yeah, I didn't like it.
No, I mean like I can, if that were the case, I'd see what they were going for, and I could appreciate that. But there are others where like it's not just their face. It's like them, they're like doing something more physical again, but I just can't see what's happening at all because it's so dark. You know, like when like they crash the car and they go to like walk up to the car that was chasing them and like see who's inside, and yeah, I couldn't see at all.
Also for like more than half of the movie.
Yeah, it's
especially when that was supposed to be a reveal, because that's when they like unhood one of the Jawas, and you discover that it was their dead friend that died in the beginning of the movie, but he was just like half the size.
Yeah. Which was an interesting twist.
Yeah.
You know,
like it.
I will say that caught my attention. I was like, "Ooh, what's going on here?"
If anything, this movie is, I guess, creative. They went a lot of wild places with it, just out of nowhere.
It's fucking weird. I just wish that they had carried through. Like, it seems to have a lot of different ideas, and I wish that they could have capitalized on one of those a little bit more than they did, instead of just kind of darting between like 4 different things.
I wish it was more just crazy violent. It's really just that one scene. Like, you have, like, some light stabbing, and that's it. Aside from the ball.
True.
It just, like, when I saw the ball, like, drill that guy's face, and I was like, yeah, let's go. The whole...
Like, this is
like,
what I'm fucking looking for.
Yeah, and then that was
like RoboCop
it.
gore.
Like,
Yeah,
I got really
awesome.
excited because a second ball showed up again, like, toward the end of the movie, and I was like, yeah, brain him. And then they just shot it down, and that was it. And I was like, oh.
Or when he shotgunned it out of the air, that was pretty cool.
He's a good shot.
The explosion was kind of weak, though. Though a fucking car drives into a telephone pole later, and then it just explodes like it had C4 in it.
Oh, I love that.
That didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Mike's escape. Because, what's his brother's name?
Jody.
Jody, yeah. He's like, I'm going to go check out the thing. You stay here. And he's like, no, I'm not letting you go by yourself. And so he, like, locks him in his room with a screwdriver. He's, like, on the side of the door where you would push in to get into the room where he locked Mike. Yeah. And he, like, jams a screwdriver in there.
It makes no sense.
And especially when you see the other side of the door, where, like, you know, like, Mike's, like, a teenager. Like, I'm sure he's strong enough to, like, get through this door. Especially when you see the door already has, like, a hole in it. Like, there's been some damage done to this door. Yeah, like, he could kick through this door probably, but he doesn't even try. But anyway, he's locked in his room, and he's just kind of fumbling around for a minute. And he's got a shotgun shell. And he, like, gets the idea. He, like, tapes it to a hammer and then hits it against the door to blow a hole in the door so he can stick his hand through and let himself out.
Well, he puts a thumbtack on the end of it.
Is that what he did?
Yeah. And then he tapes the rest to a hammer so the tack will go right into the shell.
Ingenuity. Kid's a genius.
Would that work?
I don't know enough
I don't
about
think
guns
that would
and
work.
ammunition to say one way or the
I don't
other.
think that would work.
We could try it. All right, gun
I
experts.
thought that if it
at
did
us.
work, it would have a little bit more of an explosion than it did. I was like,
a
if that was actually going to do that, wouldn't that like blow his hand off?
Well, yeah, because that's the thing is for what happened, it was a really small, concentrated shot exactly where he wanted it to be. But like without the barrel of the gun to like guide the force of the shot, yeah, wouldn't that just go everywhere
Yeah, it'd just
and
feel
fuck
like an
him up?
M80 in his hand.
Yeah. So.
Especially since it was a shotgun shell.
again,
it should just
just-
spread everywhere.
Yeah,
The-
you'd have shrapnel fucking all up in.
And he could take one of the like 60 guns that's in this house because they've got like 3 shotguns up on the wall and like handguns. It's like the fucking
Not
what's the construct in the Matrix?
not to mention, I just realized he had a hammer. Why not just hammer down the door?
Oh, yeah, true.
Why,
Probably
like,
just,
why
like-
did you need to fucking?
Just knock out the doorknob.
Yeah, he had a lot of options besides like risking blowing his hand off.
Also, what is he like 7 stories up? Jump out the window, dude.
Yeah, it's true.
He's
All
not in
good
a
points.
bomb shelter. Like, there's more than one way out.
I think this might have just been a. They just when did MacGyver come out? I think they just might have been like high on MacGyver and they were like, oh yeah, we got to have a MacGyver scene where he like contrapts a way to get out of this.
Gotta show this kid smart.
I mean, if they're going to show something like that, he should have just been captured in the funeral home and showed him like some clever way to get out one of their sci-fi space rooms or something.
Sure.
But instead they're like, oh man, we need more drama in this, so he's got to escape from somewhere. Why not his bedroom?
You gotta have more character development for the ice cream man.
Reggie.
Reggie.
I feel like I can't get you guys to cheer for Reggie until we see Phantasm 2.
Yeah, I'm kind of lukewarm on Reggie. His hair was cool.
I'm legitimately interested in watching the second one though, based off how you described it.
Oh,
yeah. Plus he can jam. Reggie jams with Jody on
They
a.
got their Line 6 Spider 3s.
No, yeah, Jody's got a Fender Strat and he's playing through a Fender Deluxe Reverb from like 1970. Hell yeah, that's a nice ass amp.
Oh, yeah.
I've always wanted a Deluxe Reverb.
And their jam was actually really cool.
It was. Yeah.
He was playing some groovy tunes on his acoustic, and then
Played
Jody was
Wonderwall
doing
by
a rockin'
Oasis.
solo.
You guys might not be ready for this yet, but your kids will love it. So do we have anything else to talk about with Phantasm?
Like we said, they just kind of bounce around a lot, you know, from the same
Just
two
like this whole
locations.
episode did.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's
So we're
not,
keeping in character.
There's not too much to say about it. They they chase and then he gets them, they get away, and then it was just a dream, or was it? Ooh.
Maybe if I had seen this as a kid, it would like stick more in my mind. But this, I don't know. It was just kind of whatever.
I definitely
Yeah.
remember liking it more when I was a teenager just because of the cheese factor.
Yeah.
But, yeah, didn't really grab me this time.
Yeah. What would you give it out of 10? I'd give it a 5.
I was going to say 5. I want to give it a 6 for the creativity.
I don't think it's that creative.
Yeah, we'll stick with 5.
I'll say 5. Yeah.
Nice to even.
I think that's fair. Yeah. Like,
You
yeah, I
rolled
wouldn't say it was
neutral.
bad. It just like, you know, and as much as as I've been saying, like, this, I can't picture this being really scary for the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure this wasn't bad for the time either. You
Just
know,
certain
like,
things were
it's
holding
solid.
it back.
Yeah.
Like, if it had better acting and stuff, maybe a 6. You know?
Yeah, and I would stress again that I think the acting is the worst part of the movie. If the acting was better, because the acting and also like I said, the music like actively kind of took me out of the experience at a few points. If those two things were better, then I think I would have enjoyed this a decent amount more.
I thought the music was very distracting, even though I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there was one in particular where there were like some bongos and shit, and they were like, "Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop," and I was like, "Ooh, this is fun."
Yeah, there was a lot of cool background music, but they never put it like in the right place.
Yeah, it was just either too much of it, or yeah, it was just not where it needed to be.
Yeah.
It was cool for what it was, but just didn't serve its purpose.
What's our good thing? I mean, let me say, I assume our collective good thing is the ball murder.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
That's
An easy one.
I was just gonna say on a macro level, like I think that the imagery was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or some of the shots were really interesting. Like it was very like visually striking, even if not all of those touches hit home for me. Like Harlan was saying, the darkness I wasn't big on, but I mean it's unique.
And it was kind of a cool shot when he was gonna like fall through that portal, and then he like grabbed his belt and pulled him back through. Mm-hmm. That was kind of well done. I think there's multiple pretty decent things.
No, yeah, it's not hard to think of a good thing
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this movie. I mean, I think like we've
there
already
was-
gone through a few of them.
Multiple sets of Milkies.
Yeah,
These are net positives.
Their jam sesh on the porch, that was cool.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like some of the music.
Yeah.
Thanks for the memories.
Memories.
So what's our trivia?
Yeah, let's get our trivia out.
Well,
for Phantasm.
That big trivia brain over there.
Nosebleed.
okay, so at the very beginning of the movie, like we said, the two are making out at the graveyard. So I read that Kathy Lester did not want to be topless, so they had a boob double for that.
Of course.
Yeah. So the guy in that scene, Bill Thornbury, took a page out of her book, refused to show his bare ass in the film. The stunt butt was played by the film's key grip, and Don Cascarelli, that's the director, even kicked the stubborn Thornbury off the set that night for not wanting to show his ass. They made up and went to a Dodgers game shortly after.
Holy shit! All right.
Based.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just funny because we were like, oh, boobers, and then 2 seconds later we were like, male ass.
And those are both body doubles.
We were like, whoa, this guy's wearing tighty white. Whoa, not anymore.
Yeah, the tidy whities went away real quick.
Yeah.
I can understand not wanting to be topless in a movie, but like
Show your ass, man.
the side of an ass cheek.
Right, yeah, like it's
Come
not even
on.
like I don't think you even saw
It's
his
not
butt
like he's
crack.
spreading eagle for the camera. It's like you see it's like a blink and you miss it shot.
Yeah,
Well, he didn't know that.
sure he did know that.
Well, okay, I guess he was just like, I guess I'll just be goat seeing for the camera here. It's like, no, please.
Yeah.
God, the side of male ass for a quarter second.
Yeah.
Grow up.
I'd show my ass if I were in Phantasm.
Same.
I'd show my ass on anything for free.
All right, Instagram post right now. Put your ass where your mouth is, Justin.
So, there's an ongoing joke for the audience
What?
to pick up. There's an ongoing joke for the audience to pick up on in Phantasm, where you try to spot as many Dos Equis bottles as you can.
Hey, I was doing that.
The film had a promotion with the Cosmatomic Monkeys Brewing Company, and Dan Coscarelli remembers
you.
going to his production manager's house and seeing 50 to 100 cases of Dos Equis in the garage. There were times, he mentions, where the cast and crew would drink them for breakfast.
So they're just like trying to get rid of these fucking things.
I noticed that was like all he was drinking.
Yeah.
He just really likes it, man.
And then finally, regarding the aforementioned hammer escape scene with the shotgun shell, the director said regarding that, to this day, I just thank God that no one ever tried to duplicate this, or I've never heard about it happening.
You guys want to do it?
I'm sure people have tried it. They just aren't around anymore to tell anyone where they learned about it.
That's pretty funny. This was good trivia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was a lot to sort through for this movie. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, what are we watching next time?
Next week we are watching Jennifer's Body.
Oh.
Oh,
I've never actually seen it.
I haven't either, but I remember like drooling over the trailer in high school.
Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Hell
it was
yeah.
either going to be that or Epic Movie, so I thought Jennifer's Body would be more.
I think
of
that's
an
a good
actual
pick.
movie.
Like I said, I haven't seen it, but I think that'll be a good one.
Sweet. All right. Well, we'll see you next week for the body of.
We'll see you
Jennifer.
next time
See
for
you next
Boo-Roll
time.
Boiz.
Boo-Roll Boiz.
I need a second, okay? Why can't anybody give me a goddamn second?
Hold on. You dig on multiverses?
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Open my eyes! Ah!
That's it. What, we some kind of
B-roll boys.